AI is already transforming how many travelers discover, evaluate, and choose destinations. But across the tourism sector, most businesses are still uncertain about where to begin with AI. To support DMOs and tourism leaders facing this challenge, Waresight developed a new thought leadership report entitled From Fear to Opportunity, How DMOs Can Move Their Business Community from AI Confusion to AI Maturity. In this report, we hope you find key insights on how an AI is reshaping tourism, the real barriers holding businesses back, and it's not technical, a clear role for DMOs as educators, conveyors, and confidence builders, a practical roadmap to help operators adopt AI safely and efficiently, and case studies from destinations that have already taken action. Overall, the message in this report is simple. DMOs don't need to become AI experts, but they can become the trusted guides for their community and are needed to perform that role. Hi, my name is Karl Llewellyn. I am the International Commercial Director with Waresight. At Waresight, we work with DMOs, CVBs, chambers around the world to help them to measure, benchmark, and impact the digital maturity of the tourism businesses in their community. I'm joined today in this webinar by my colleague, Susan Berg. Susan, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Karl. Hi, everyone. My name is Susan Burke. I am the International Account Director with Waresight. I lead DMO experience. I work closely with DMOs to help them understand their digital maturity, prioritise the right actions, and for them and for their operators, and translate the data that we gather into measurable outcomes for their destinations. My background is very much, I've always been embedded in travel and tourism. I've worked closely with Ireland's national DMO, Fáilte Ireland, on their Digital That Delivers programme, which was a national initiative supporting over 800 tourism businesses to improve their digital maturity.
We're also joined by Laughlin Wrigley. Laughlin, say hi.
Hi, Karl. I'm Laughlin. I'm Director of AI and Digital Transformation at Waresight, and I've worked in the tourism and technology industry for the past 20 years or so, working with DMOs or working in DMOs, but at a local, regional and national basis, helping them in their digital transformation journeys, and more recently in the past few years in terms of AI transformation as well. So looking forward to getting involved in the questions today, Karl.
Great. Okay. Well, look, let's get stuck in. What we want to do today is discuss what we learned from the report, from compiling the insights from the thought leaders that we spoke to, and from the 200 operators, primarily in Northeast US, that we took the data from. So I'm going to jump straight in with a question to you, Laughlin. There's a lot of noise about AI. It leads a lot of news reports. It's on the front page of most of the papers and blog posts that we're seeing across LinkedIn. From what you're seeing, what are tourism businesses actually doing with AI in practice?
Yeah, look, Karl, AI use is real for sure, but it's mostly practical rather than advanced. You know, most tourism businesses are not building sophisticated AI systems. They're using AI for everyday tasks that save time or they improve, output quality. Sort of what we've seen are the most common use cases would be things like website copy improvements, content creation, social media support, itinerary ideas, and even routine marketing tasks. So indeed, when we look at our Northeast portfolio in the States, about 63% of businesses, they've used AI at least once, but the usage was described as uneven and generally shallow, to be honest with you. So the main pattern is that, AI is being used for website and content improvement, while the more advanced uses such as data analysis or task automation are still pretty rare out there. And that's not surprising because we're generally talking to businesses that are smaller and, in scale. And so they're very much in experimentation mode at the moment, rather than having it embedded into their business processes. But look, that matters because it's a real opportunity, because it's not just getting businesses to try AI once, but for DMOs, it's helping them move from dabbling to structured, useful adoption. And so this is why sort of an AI and digital maturity approach is so valuable, because it helps businesses adopt AI in a way that's practical, that's staged, and that's linked to business value.
Yeah. I recall the OpenAI lecture where they spoke about that maturity AI curve of going from AI helps me to do things faster to AI helps me to do things better to AI helps me to do things I never thought I could do. And the faster, I think we've all experienced the faster bit, particularly as we say into that research and content development stage. But where are businesses getting stuck when it comes to adopting AI or advancing to the next level on that maturity curve?
It's the biggest issue. It's not really access to AI tools. It's actually confidence, capability, and clarity. See, the tools themselves, they're widely available, and we know many of them. And in fact, that's sometimes the confusing thing, because there are so many of them. But a lot of businesses, they don't know what good AI adoption looks like for a business of their size. So that's why they need clarity. And in fact, when we surveyed these businesses in the paper, 57% of those said practical AI training was their top need. So that just shows, training in AI is really the number one requirement here. So that's the first thing. We also found that, many businesses, over 50%, were exploring AI tools. But then, conversely, another 40% said they'd no AI usage and no future plans. So we've really seen a mixed level of confidence and readiness there. So the barrier, it's not technology, Karl, it's uncertainty about sort of where to begin, what is safe, and what will genuinely sort of help the business rather than just create more noise as well. So, there's also a very practical tourism sector issue. Many businesses are small and time poor, obviously. So in the New York segment that we looked at as well, over 60% of operators had less than 5 staff. So that shows you the profile there. So it's just that they don't often have time to focus on learning about these things as well. So DMOs can help point them in the right direction in this sense as well,
Yeah. I mean, tourism businesses, a lot of them are made up of that mom and pop sector, which don't have a digital expert on the squad or on the team. And also, I think one thing I learned from it is that there almost seemed to be like it's a Gen X provider serving, a Gen Z customer. So that comes with its own challenge, doesn't it? In terms of Gen Z wants to arrive with their barcode and collect their goods or their bike or their hire, go on their trip. So how do we make that happen? Are there any clear-cut examples, like absolute every day, all day long, if you do this, there is a really strong return on investment?
Well, look, it comes when you tie AI to a real business outcome and you don't just treat it as a novelty, So if you like, the strongest pattern here is around content and digital visibility for tourism businesses. They're using AI to improve website copy, to strengthen destination and product descriptions. And this can be for their booking systems as well. They use it to create itinerary content as well and support social media content creation and posts, imagery, videos. So you're talking about a lot of content creation here, but this is a real business outcome because this is saving them time. It's making them more efficient and giving them more time to free up to other areas of the business. And they may sound like simple cases, but they matter because discoverability and clarity, quality of content, all of that directly affects inquiries, your conversions, and your booking behavior. So that's really important, And, I guess when we look at what our report says, we're also saying it's doing a bit bigger strategic point because, as traveler discovery shifts towards this AI-generated summary and assistance, and people are searching for trip ideas in ChatGPT and Claude as opposed to, Googling them, business that delay action risk losing their visibility or their narrative control or even their competitiveness with these LLMs and these, chat bots when they go out to sort of put itineraries together, if they don't or haven't at least made an effort to improve their discoverability and their content quality as well. So look, it's it's very useful even to focus on the the basic stuff in terms of content generation here. It does deliver uplift, and it does help your visibility as well.
Yeah, which is so important now in terms of your searchability, isn't it? We're no longer typing in 5 things to do in Rochester on a wet day. We're saying it to our phone. So
no, for sure. And another thing we often say as well as content and digital content and its accessibility has become more of an important area for industry and for our own industry and for businesses as we go forward. And so improving your digital accessibility for people and your website content accessibility, that actually also benefits your visibility in AI and amongst AI systems. So you're actually hitting 2 birds with 1 stone there, because you're often ticking, the 2 boxes by looking at an improved digitally accessible website as well. So that's another thing to note as well when you're looking at a review of your digital strategy.
Yeah, so your accessibility improves, which is an important thing for your standards.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're getting your AI bump in terms of your
100%.
your content fine. And is that a big lift? Is that like okay, we got to start again here?
Look, it's different for everyone. It depends on how their site's been built. It depends on what they've invested and what content they have. So it really does depend. But it's not hard to achieve progress in this, if you know where you want to go, if you have a roadmap laid out. So it's not an impossible task at all,
Okay. And it is something you could do in stages. You don't have to.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a better way to do it, is to break it down into stages. Otherwise, it can maybe feel a bit overwhelming, especially for the smaller SMEs and smaller businesses,
Yeah. It kind of feels to me from conversations I'm having with DMOs and operators that this is an inevitability. You're kind of postponing something that you will have to do one day, so it's just, do you want to reap the benefits of doing it today or postpone those benefits for 12 months? Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I think at least if you're postponing those benefits or you're postponing your actions, you should at least be aware of what's happening around you and what other businesses are doing, even if you don't.
They're getting the jump on the jump
adopt
on
them yourself. Because that, at least making that effort and understanding, like if you're not going to introduce those changes yet to your business, it's good to have an understanding of case studies and what other businesses are doing. And this is constantly what we hear from businesses. We talk to them, tell me what other people are doing, show me examples, give me case studies. So that's something where DMO can really step in and help and workshop that with their members.
I think that is the important thing, is that there's very few have the skills or the desire to be the leader here and step out and be an outlier. It's great that we have them, but certainly everyone else wants to be a fast follower, don't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Wants that true case, and it's up to the DMO to identify that leader and go, hey, this has been proven to be in best practice. This is the playbook to get there. I think as we see in the report and we talk about it, that a lot of businesses are in the tinkering phase, and what comes with tinkering is good things, bad things, So, that didn't work, that worked. Well, you want as many businesses in your community following the good practices, don't you, and avoiding the bad ones.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Look, everyone. AI is a journey for everyone. There are no experts in a sense in AI that know everything. I mean, there are new models they're being rolled out every week and every month. So, and there are so many different tools out there that don't get disheartened by being overwhelmed by it, because everyone's in that same boat and we're all trying to learn. So it just making that effort of making a start of trying to understand the landscape with AI is certainly a really good way to kick this off. Yeah.
I think the rules part is becoming so important. At a recent conference I attended, a DMO colleague showed me a blog post that had been created by someone in the community. I'm going to keep everyone anonymous here, because on the blog post they created a trail for visiting wine vineyards and stuff like that. But they got AI to create the map, and it was just going to anywhere people had drank a glass of wine or a bar or come here, and it got place names wrong, and it actually, the locations weren't correct on map of where to go. But this had been posted without being humanized and tested. So it's just all those good, all those creating good practices in your community rather than let your community let down the everyone by making those mistakes. I think we've answered the last question, but I just want to confirm it. If you had to simplify AI adoption for tourism business, what are the one or two things that they should focus on first? Is it accessibility, or would you prioritize something ahead of that?
No, I wouldn't just say accessibility. First, get a digital baseline. That's really important. Before you start chasing AI tools, you need to understand your current digital and AI maturity yourself. So, where are the real gaps? Where are the quick wins? What's realistic over the next 6 to 12 months? That's the baseline approach, and that's why a maturity-led approach, it works so well for DMOs and tourism businesses, because, it replaces the hype with some structure and gives businesses a good roadmap instead of just a random list of tools. The second part of that, then, once you have a baseline, start with one or two practical use cases that sit close to revenue, efficiency, or customer experience, because that's where you're really going to see some benefit, And for most tourism businesses, this, as I said at the start, could be website content improvement, itinerary and destination content, social media, review analysis, or automation. But as you said, human in the loop. Keep someone to curate that content. Do not just produce it and push it out there. Always have a human in the loop with any content you create with AI. Really important there as well. So look, that's the first. Get your baseline, and then start one or two practical use cases, and then you could flow from there. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Laughlin.
No problem.
Susan, if I can, first question. You were heavily involved in the production of the report. So from that work behind this report, and by the way, I should say to anyone who's listening, we will provide a link to give you access to the report. It's completely free of charge. Or you can always just visit the Wearside website and go into our resources section where all our newsletters, blog posts, white papers are listed, and you will find it there. All is available free of charge, and we welcome your feedback. But back to you, Susan. What stood out most for you about how tourism businesses are approaching AI right now?
What stood out most, Karl, is definitely that curiosity is high around AI, but confidence is still very low. Again, I don't really know where to start, and a bit nervous about diving into it. So a lot of tourism businesses are experimenting with AI. We found from the report over 50% from our data, but a lot less are actually integrating it into their workflows in a real meaningful way. So as they could be drafting emails, taking meeting notes, but it's not integrated. It's not integrated yet. So most are stuck in what we describe, and you've mentioned this, tinkering phase, trying tools like, I suppose personally and with their work, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, for drafting and ideas, but without any clear sense of how AI actually fits into their role or delivers real value to them. And importantly, the hesitation, I suppose, it isn't about resistance. I think that's important to kind of say, and that really came through in the report. It's more about fear of getting it wrong, choosing the wrong tools, or damaging trust with visitors. So businesses really want practical, low-risk ways to start, not big transformational AI projects right out of the gate. So the strongest takeaway for me from the report and from interviewing DMOs as part of putting this report together, was that AI works best when it supports human judgment, first draft summaries, analysis, but not final decisions. It's very much bringing the human into it. So human sense check is still essential with everything that the tourism businesses are working with.
Okay. From a destination perspective, where do you think the biggest gaps are between the DMOs are trying to do and what the local tourism businesses are actually ready for, or is there a gap?
There is definitely a gap. So I suppose
Okay.
the biggest gap is ambition versus readiness. DMOs are thinking strategically, destination-wide level about visibility, competitiveness, future discovery, while a lot of local tourism businesses are still trying to understand what AI means for their day-to-day work. Like, we've mentioned a lot of tourism businesses can be mom and pop style businesses. They're not using it at all. There was also a stat in our report to say that they're not using AI at all, which is probably, shocking to hear, but there is that DMOs need to support at that level as well. So there's definitely a gap. And there's often an assumption that businesses are further along than they really are. In reality, many don't yet have the confidence, skills, or clarity to move beyond basic experimentation. So that creates a real mismatch. So DMO wants to move the destination forward, but businesses need reassurance, practical examples, and step-by-step support. So bridging that gap is less about technology and more about education, confidence building, and meeting businesses where they are.
Yeah. Okay. And do they, I'm just thinking about, like, in identifying that gap, just a following question from that, what would be your number one recommendation to the DMOs to resolve that or to mitigate it?
So I definitely think they need to start with understanding that they don't need to be a professional in everything AI. As Laughlin touched on, it is moving so fast. It's the fastest digital transformation that we have seen. So it's about, again, coming in as the confidence builders, capability builders, and giving them support in practical ways in terms of peer-to-peer examples, even like the language around AI. It's them to be the educators rather than the AI professionals, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the suggestions we gave at we were presenting at the New England Summit, Discover New England Summit there in April, and which went down really well with the community there, was say, look, at a pizza party, get 10 of them in a room, tell them to bring their laptops and get them to write their first prompt. Some of this is easy, but it's great if you can get that kind of learning in a room. And once you teach somebody how to prompt, you can then say, hey, use this prompt, and that seemed to go down well as an idea. And that's something which you would feel is in the DMO's gift, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Even a simple, another example is again, keep it very simple for them. Even telling them, people, one of the challenges I'm sure with tourism businesses, small businesses, employees of maybe less than 1 or 1 to 5, is that how do they even understand their customer, or how do they, customer sentiment is huge. What are the customers saying about them? So there's kind of 2 parts to it. It's responding to the reviews that are out there, but also learning from the reviews that are out there. So AI can really kind of help here in terms of drafting replies for these reviews, but also using AI to understand their customer, and that allows them to actually build on their product and even their campaigns and all of that. So there's kind of a few levels to it, and the DMO can help at that, even at that level, to understand. As you said, it's getting them in a room and even starting at that level. And that's not the DMO being an expert in the area. It's giving them simple, real examples of what they can do with AI.
Yeah, I loved that as a practical example. I thought that was a brilliant lift from content development to getting a customer sentiment analysis of the reviews that you're online. And as you say, look, with a pizza party, you could learn how to scrape for all reviews written about you across all the platforms, get a general customer sentiment analysis, learn from that, and then learn on, what would be good replies to reviews. And I know in the past, running small businesses, you get a bad review, your first reaction is to kick the dog, but it's nice to, and it can be hard to craft a response where you've got to sometimes just suck it up and go. But, AI being soulless just goes for it and comes up with a great one, So I think that was That was once again an example we gave in New England, and it was really well received by the room. So I'm glad we've looked at that again. Uh, just one question before we finish, and I'll ask this to at first to you, Susan, but Laughlin, feel free to jump in. The report, which once again is free to everybody from our website, the report is titled "From Fear to Opportunity: How DMOs Can Move Their Business Community from AI Confusion to AI Maturity." Why the title? Like, particularly, why from fear to opportunity? Are businesses in a state of fear?
Absolutely. Yes, I suppose in a way they are. And they're bombarded with all these kind of tools and what's out there. And again, they're in an unknown territory. Now, the DMO will say as well that they're also learning at the same pace. So it's again meeting them where they are at. They are fearful, they are confused. But I think to kind of repeat, if the DMO can come in as the educator of all of this, rather than coming in and thinking that the DMO needs to be an AI expert in order to help their community. That's just not what we're seeing. It's really starting with a very practical approach in how they can support them, because they are confused and they just need clarity.
Fair enough. Laughlin, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I just look. I agree. There's a lot of fear out there about AI, what it can do, also to jobs and to as well as to businesses and to their visibility and to search and Google, your rankings, all of that stuff. But they often say face your fears head on. So if you could just do one thing is to start. Go to ChatGPT, type in. If this is your first time, just type in "I'm a small business." Describe your business and say, I need help starting with AI. Show me some practical steps. Even if you type that in as a prompt, you're kicking something off and you're starting, you're tipping your toe in the water and you're making a move in the right direction there. So look, nothing is too small when it comes to AI to begin with. We're all experimenting. And look, it's an exciting journey. And the thing is, once you unlock that and you begin to learn, then you can unlock huge advantages for your business and huge opportunities as well,
Yeah. Well, I think, as we know, it's built into the human race since we left the cave. What's new is scary. And the point that you made there, Susan, it's the confidence, and confidence comes with knowledge, and that's where the DMO can really help. I was listening to a similar podcast yesterday where they were talking about AI, and the guy made a really good point. Look, if you're expecting AI to help you to do less, then you might be in trouble. If you're expecting AI to help you do more, then you're in the right place, And I think that's an overriding attitude, is that this AI can help every business do more in terms of serve more customers, access more markets, and more efficient in terms of their marketing position. So we're all excited about that. So final question to you, Susan. If you're advising a DMO, not the individual business, based on what you've seen in the report, what's the first thing they should actually focus on to move things forward? What's the quick win for them today?
So based on what we saw in the report, the key thing is to keep this really practical. Don't start with tools, start with confidence. I know this is something I've repeatedly said, but it's really important not to kind of overwhelm. The first step is understanding where businesses actually are today. A simple AI readiness check cuts through a lot of uncertainty. It helps businesses see how confident they feel, how accurate their information is, and where the real gaps are. So you can't assume that all businesses are at the same level. And I know Laughlin has touched on this earlier as well. It's measure first. Once you have a baseline, everything else becomes easier and far less intimidating. I suppose from there, then it's about education and building confidence. Simple workshops, short webinars, real peer examples, showing what AI can realistically help with without expecting anyone to become an expert in it. That's really, I want to kind of get that through here. No one can be an expert in AI. One of the biggest opportunities we saw was around websites and digital accuracy. Again, I know Laughlin has mentioned this. Websites are now a core source of AI-driven systems. So helping businesses keep their information clear, structured, and up to date is one of the highest impact things a DMO can do. From there, I suppose on the marketing side, AI is already changing how people discover destinations. I suppose we go back 10 years and the average person is on about 22 websites just to book a hotel because they're bouncing. That we know that is gone now. You're going straight to your AI, whatever you're using, ChatGPT, Gemini, and asking one question and getting a response. So DMOs can add a lot of value by pointing businesses to practical tools and sharing what actually works, not just what's new. So like examples, I give a real example here of like content creation, or even for like social media ads, or Canva now has it's a tool. There's a free version, but there's also a very a low cost version of it that has an AI built in that can really speed up things for small teams as well, with tourism businesses and the DMO. Thinking of the DMO here as well, as also can be a very small team. This will really help make their team more efficient. Same applies for customer engagement and booking, using AI in simple ways to personalize communication. That reduces friction and then helps turn interest into bookings, because we can't forget about, we found in the report as well that businesses were great at in terms of website and content at that level, but as you go down that sales funnel into booking, that's where the kind of the disjoint kind of happened. So DMO is supporting in that area as well. So I suppose, look, there more than anything, it still comes back down to confidence, shared language, small wins, and making it okay to start small. With the example Laughlin gave, just start by putting one prompt into your AI tool today and see what it tells you.
Great. Okay. Well, lots of good and practical advice there. Laughlin and Susan, this has been terrific. Really enjoyed this conversation. I hope that, and I know that our audience will find it useful. To close out, as I said, the report is available on our website. Just go to resources and you'll see everything available there. You can find it as published in April of this year, From Fear to Opportunity. I would also say that both myself, Karl Llewellyn, Susan Burke, and Laughlin Wrigley were all on LinkedIn at Wareside. If there's any question that you have directly, or if you'd like us to dive into the data on a specific point, we're all available for like a 15-minute coffee call. Just DM us there and we'd be delighted to support you in any way. Any members of the DMO or wider travel community, please do connect with us there. And I think that's it. We'll wrap at that, guys. Once again, thank you all for your time, and talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Karl.
Thanks, Karl.